You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Business owners and entrepreneurs, aren't we always saying how we want to take our networking game to the next level? Well, with me today is the anti-LinkedIn guy. He's calling BS on the typical digital networking. He is the founder of Tripally.io, and he has cooked up an app that is going to make in-person networking a lot easier. That's going to build the trust that actually leads to relationships and is going to be the cornerstone of genuine networking and business success. Josh, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
Chris, thanks for having me, man. I'm a big fan. It's surreal to be here. Just thank you. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So tell me more about your past experience before you even got into Tripoli. Where did that experience bring you today and how you recognized a problem in the market that you wanted to fulfill?
Yeah, sure, Chris. It's one of those things like life is full of unexpected opportunities and paths that you didn't think you might take. So I graduated from college in '08 as a history guy. Was thinking, hey, maybe I could be one of my cool professors, one of those guys that meant the world to me. And maybe I can emulate them. It's a little delusion of grandeur there, but I gave it a shot, but didn't end up following through with it. And I'm 37 now. I spent most of my 20s in the window cleaning world, working on houses, talking to customers. And believe it or not, it's still probably the best job I've ever had. It was the best. I was tanned, I was in shape, all the things we want. And at a certain point, I realized, you know what? It's not going to provide for me and my family or my future family at the time, like perhaps maybe I would hope for. So I took a break. I did some traveling. I got arrested in Europe. Like it was crazy. But by the way, I didn't do anything wrong. They let us go the next morning. But long story short, I've gone from window cleaner to jail to spent the last 10 years in marketing. And now I'm venturing into the entrepreneurial world and decided to start Tripoli. So that's a long answer to a short question, my friend.
No, that's fantastic. And I think it just sums up the entrepreneurial journey. We pivot, we come into unfortunate circumstances. We want to rise from the ashes like a phoenix and just be better than we were before, trying to achieve that financial freedom and that time freedom that we're all kind of looking for to get away from that typical 9 to 5 lifestyle or just less paid gigs. So tell me more about Tripoli and what it's doing for people. So this is a new networking app that is focused more on in-person networking and relationships and more like mentorship and actual like community.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned in the lead in, I'm kind of the anti LinkedIn guy, which is true and not true at the same time. I think a lot of what we view as networking right now. Um,
Hmm.
so I can explain a little bit. Tripoli is a mobile app. You pop it open, and the expectation of the app is everybody who's there exists to meet in person. So for business, for networking, for anything that you need for business, you can find people on Tripoli to help you with your problems, with what you're going through. The nature of networking is the people that we build around us in our community that we give to and give back to us. I'm not seeing a lot of that happening on LinkedIn. And I think a lot of that is because the expectations are a little messy. Like you get those messages in your inbox and you're like, hey, I don't know if I want to meet for coffee. And by the way, who are you? And
Exactly.
um yeah, it can creep out the ladies of the world who get lots of benign requests and non-benign requests at the same time, and it's hard to tell the difference. And even guys can kind of be like, I don't know who you are, man. I don't know. So
Hmm.
we wanted to create an ecosystem where people who are serious about building their core network have a place to find that network.
And that's a challenge for us because there's tons of business owners and entrepreneurs out there, and not all of them are really willing to give us the time of day to share insights, their experience, tell us about any cool tools or technology that's out there. But when we find those right people, how impactful they can be for our journey and our business. You talked about the mentors. All the mentors of my past, like we try to emulate them and take all the great positive qualities and teach that to others, learn from that and become that. Can you tell me some more experiences about your mentors and what they meant to you?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll tell you two sides of this coin. When I realized the power of networking was when it was 10 years ago. I decided I was going to be a freelance copywriter in the marketing world, and I had no idea what I was getting into. And this was shortly after I got out of jail in Prague. And I want to remind everybody that that was wrongfully jailed. But it struck me, hey, I'm off on this venture. I don't know anybody. I've spent the last 10 years on ladders outside of houses. I don't know how to get started. I think I have this skill set, but I'm not sure yet. I'm faking it till I make it. Um, so Kristen, who is now my wife, was my girlfriend at the time, and she said, "Hey, I know somebody with a startup in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I live now," and said, "Hey, they're looking for content. Maybe I can hook you up with them." And sure enough, they took a risk on me and it worked out fabulously. I was able to build my portfolio through them and build that credibility that I needed as a writer. But, before that, it was begging people for free. I will write your website about page, eh, which seems so crazy to me now. But those are the opportunities that you need early on to get started. And I wouldn't have found this opportunity through my wife, unless she hadn't taken my back and gone, "Hey, take a risk on this guy." And they said, "Good idea. Let's try it." Um, so again, long answer to a short question. That led me to my first mentor in marketing. So from that job, I was able to get connected to Tony. He's 25 years my senior. I ended up freelancing almost exclusively for him over the next 2 years. And he's one of these old salts in marketing, which is just like, you got to be strategic. You have to measure it. There's a funnel. There are clear phases of the funnel. If you want to sell to businesses, you have to talk to them at each phase of the funnel, all that stuff. And he really took me under his wing in a generous way that honestly I didn't deserve at the right time. At that time. All I had was a good attitude and a willingness to be taught. So shout out to Tony. And that really changed my trajectory, gave me the confidence to talk um, insightfully and intelligently about marketing for the last 10 years.
That is fantastic. And what a testament it is to the networking and building of relationships. Just like you said early on, you could even give it away. You can even say, I got something great and it's free. And they're like, I don't know. But that trust, that credibility just wasn't built yet. And I can tell you, I agree with you 100%. It's those early on relationships where people have your back. They want to support you and they give you an opportunity. One of my best mentors, he said he doesn't train for skill or experience. He trains or he hires based on attitude because he said you have to have the right attitude and mindset because skills and tools and tech are all teachable, but we can't teach you to have the right attitude. So it just shows the power of that going into something, especially starting out, and then how that mentorship builds into bigger relationships with education, what they can teach you. I always say we should be lifelong students and lifelong teachers as well. Look to people who are younger and older than us, share that collective knowledge because we're better, stronger together. Yes, some we're in competition, but I feel like the more we can provide our resources to each other, the bigger we can grow our network and ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think we underestimate quite a bit the extent that the people who are established around us really do want to give back and want to take the time to say, "Hey, you're a recent college graduate. You just got a degree in accounting. I've been accounting for 30 years. Talk. I'll help you dodge some of those speed bumps. I'll help you figure out which mistakes not to make." I think there's a lot of people out there looking to give back in that way. And it's just a matter of connecting the givers with the takers. So that's probably a bad way to put it, but the people, you get it.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. Now, within the past 10 years that you've had within copywriting and just marketing as a whole for other businesses, you said that networking and relationships were that kind of that springboard, that starting off point. Is that still true today, 10 years into business, or are you doing more outbound, inbound strategies that are adding to your client list?
Oh, it's hugely adding to my business capabilities today. Here's the power of networking in a short story. I just got off the phone with the guy 20 minutes ago. So I needed a certain kind of box for a certain kind of product that we're selling through a different business. I called a colleague from a former company who said, "My friend owns a box company."
Who's your
I was like,
box
"What?"
guy? I know someone.
Yeah. I said, "Well, what are the odds of that?" I get the box company guy on the phone and he goes, "Yeah, I just bumped into him in the store. I haven't seen him since college. Like that was 2 weeks ago." So the power of networking is that when you're starting something new as an entrepreneur, you don't know what you don't know. We were laughing a bit before the show that how powerful it is to have somebody who knows something that you don't know and they suggest something to you and you go, "Oh yeah, No, I haven't thought of that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
And you can't find those insights. Oh, for instance, I work in my office in the basement at my house. I go out to play pickleball. I go to Chamber of Commerce events and I have beers or coffee with people from time to time. But aside from that, what I think a lot of people are in that boat. And aside from that sort of day to day stuff, how are people building their network in a strategic way and a purposeful way? And in a way that really gives them that healthy business friendship, business ally ecosystem that they're looking for. And even if you're not established, like I don't consider, I'm not Elon Musk, but I can still help people. I want to give back to my network too. And it's really gratifying when I can do it. And I think a lot of people want to do that.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. When it comes to that early on networking and relationship building, I see a lot of people making the mistake of they want to sell themselves. They're focused on the features or the tools or here's what I can do for you, as opposed to trying to build a genuine relationship. How do we go about that to be less focused on sales and provide more value, to be that true friend, to be that true asset to them? Is there anything that we can do as business owners to keep in mind while we're networking?
Yeah, absolutely. We just wrote an article on our website about how we think networking, who's going to win networking in 2024. And number one was we're going to give and we're going to give and we're going to give, which is to say, we're going to delay gratification. We're not working people over or fooling anybody into some sort of payout into the future. But what we're going to do is take an altruistic approach and say, hey, I want to be a resource for you. Can we meet and talk? And you just give until you build that goodwill, that trust, that availability, that friendliness that leads to the money part. I think we all know people who just seem to know people. And it's so confusing to me. It's like, oh, that guy's a millionaire because she knew the guy that had the contract for the thing. And you're like, I don't know. Who are these people? I'm not a Vanderbilt. Like
I don't have this well established, family money or family name that's coming down with me. I'm just me and I'm just starting out.
Exactly. And I think the approach is recognize where you are, delay gratification. 20 years from now, when you're laying in bed, you'll be much more gratified by being the kind of person that people want than having a couple extra $100 in your pocket because you were trying to weasel your way into a deal. So I think people first and give and give.
Josh, that is such a brilliant point. You are the marketer of the future, bringing it today on where people should actually be focusing their efforts, giving more than they're receiving, providing value, building that true relationship and friendship. Because it's not always about that one person. Maybe you made some logo or copywriting for them, but they know other business owners who can refer you out to other businesses. And this just keeps snowballing into finally you have this huge community and they're all like waving money at you. Josh, I need your help. Let me give you money. And you're like, whoa, whoa, there's enough to go around. Please hold on.
You're right. You're right, Chris. I'm a saint. And
You're like, I'm Josh. You're welcome.
if I could drop this mic, I would drop it, Chris. I would. Can't.
It's probably a good idea. It looks expensive.
Okay. we One of the reasons we started Tripoli is because we're sort of plagued by a couple things. We looked at the market and we said, for the last 15, coming up on 20 years, whenever it occurred to somebody to say, hey, I'm going to work on my networking today, they'd pop open LinkedIn or social media and go, I'm going to get to know more people. And the technology is amazing. And your reach is now global. It's incredible. But we've sort of expanded our reach at the cost of our depth, which means we see lots of names and we see lots of content and we see lots of people building their brand. But what we don't see is a lot of trust building and a lot of relationship building that sort of leads to the good part, which is you get to refer to somebody or somebody gets to refer you or somebody gets to introduce you or vice versa. That's where all like the good part of networking comes in, not I've got 27,000 followers on LinkedIn, which is like, all right, it's a vanity metric. So,
Mhm.
and I'm jealous of those people because I don't have 27,000 followers.
Gonna
But
do a dance on
um,
TikTok or something and boom, you'll get there. But you don't need to. I feel like it should be more of a quality over quantity sort of thing.
yeah, exactly. So we don't want to criticize too hard over here at Tripoli, but we do want to acknowledge that there's a difference between the use case of LinkedIn and the use case of networking. And LinkedIn's fabulous. Like, we're admirers insofar as you can build your brand, your credibility, your reputation, even sell these days as everything's shifting that direction. But, if you're just out of college or you're looking for that new job and you need a referral, who are you talking to? And that's your network.
Oh, that's brilliant. And I love that it connects the less experienced with the more experienced, because there are tons of business owners who are looking for either some sort of entry level or just getting started. They want someone with the right attitude to give them that skill set to kind of mentor them a bit, because that's going to bring tons of value into their business. So there's people looking for each other all the time. They just didn't know where to go. But now Tripoli is finally going to provide that within your app. Is there filters, whether that's industry, or are you open to mentoring or networking? Are there any benefits within that where you can kind of target down like a certain industry or, you know, thing like that?
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things we're most excited about is everything in Tripoli is the map. It's you pop open the map, you're in Milwaukee and you go, oh, I see 300 people in Milwaukee who are willing to meet in person for business. It's like, okay, that's interesting. And then what you can do is filter by, well, do I want to meet somebody one-on-one, or are there events that I may not have known about, perhaps that a company's putting on or a chamber's putting on or an EDO's putting on, something like that. Or you can filter for, hey, I'm looking for mentorship. Eh, or you can search, hey, who's in the marketing field that I can talk to? That's what we're going for, is we want to streamline these connections in a way where if you're aspiring to do something, you can find somebody to talk to about it.
Wow, that sounds incredible. What is the entry price? Is it a free, low cost, a monthly membership? How does that work?
It is free, my friend. So
Woohoo! I love
first,
free. I think
yes,
most business owners love free.
yes, absolutely. And we're really striving for not the kind of free where you can't do anything. It's the kind of free where we actually want to deliver some value and have people be excited to use the platform. But we will introduce paid methods. For example, companies could use it, businesses could use it, that sort of thing. We're still working out the details on that because we would like to monetize it at some point. But that'll be in the form of, hey, if you're the number one leadership coach in Milwaukee and you want to promote your profile, we'll let you pay us to do that kind of thing.
Wow, that's fantastic. Always some opportunities to monetize, but I feel like your focus at the forefront is just building that network and providing value first. Let people connect for free, get that mentorship, share advice and resources. And then further on, once they're making $1 million a year, you can afford to kick in 50, $100 a month. I mean, that's just how things go. But that's how we're starting off as entrepreneurs. We typically have more time than money. And then once we invest that time, we get more money, we start investing a bit more. But it's just that crazy fun entrepreneur experience that we're all a part of. Now, Josh, can you tell me either a book, a podcast, or someone that you follow that's been really inspirational for you that may be helpful to other entrepreneurs and business owners?
Yeah, of course. I'm not going to blow too much smoke up your skirt, my friend, but your podcast is fantastic. If you're a listener here, keep listening.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. But then also, I'm a tremendous fan of the My First Million guys. They put out a lot of good content, but they also make you kind of hate yourself a little bit because you're like, oh, really? It's that easy? They've got this cool casual approach to it. And you're like, oh, just get rich. Got it. Um, and then Alex Hormozy is a fantastic resource, and he's really exploded recently. And I've caught that bug. And he shares a lot of that give, and more giving approach to how you do business and delaying that gratification. So that's who I'd recommend.
Oh, that's fantastic. I've been recommending Alex Hormozy to many other people as well. I just love that he's putting out that free content. It's really detailed. It gets you pointed in the right direction. But this is the first I've heard of the First Millionaire guys, and I'd love a link to be able to share with others and use for myself. But if you mention it's just that easy to kind of get into that millionaire mindset, I just need to walk out the door and boom, there's my millions. That's what I want to do. But we kind of put too much pressure on ourselves. We have this anxiety or self doubt, or we keep grinding and maybe we're not making as much progress as we'd like. What were some of the principles that the millionaire guys were kind of putting forward that made it seem so simple?
Yeah, one of them that stands out to me is two things. One is these guys, they're not as risk averse as I am. So if in a previous life I was pretty risk averse, didn't want to put myself out there, a lot of people find themselves in that boat. How do I make the leap from corporate to entrepreneurship? Should I do XYZ? These guys kind of pull you out of the everything that could go wrong and into the, hey, what if something goes right and you're glad you did it? And what if that's what life's all about? And I don't think they explicitly say that, but that's the vibe you get out of them. So it's encouraging. But another thing is, I don't know why I'm talking about this specifically, but it resonated with me and maybe it resonates with your folks is there's this bell curve of people, the super smart people and the super dumb people. We love them all the same, but that's the way it works. And then in the middle, at the top of this bell curve, you have what they call midwits. And in a weird way, the people on the not as intelligent side can be way more successful because they're not afraid to take those risks. And the people on the high end understand the risks better. So it's not as risky. So everybody's succeeding on either side of the spectrum. And then you've got Josh sitting here in the middle going, I see the upsides and the downsides. I can't predict the future, so I'm not going to do anything. So it made me really happy for people to have guys as good as they are understand that there are people like me who are trying to play it safe too much. We're mid-witted. We see the full spectrum.
We're trying not to take any action because then that might result in a risk or a reward. And we're just uncertain about it. We're like, I'd rather not.
Yeah, exactly. So get in there. My first million guys, they're great.
That's fantastic. I think something to hit home is just do it. Just get out there, take action on
Yeah.
it because goals without timelines are just dreams. So unless you're actually taking steps and actions to achieve those dreams, just give it a shot. I can't tell you how many things I've failed at before I found success. And it's one of those journeys that you never know until you try it. But I'm glad I did because now I know I either do want to focus my efforts on that or I don't want to. And it's one of those things that one of those hurdles we just need to get over as entrepreneurs is just that self-doubt, not wanting to take action, that risk aversion. We're all trying to play it safe, but we have to risk it to get the biscuit.
Exactly. I say it every time I go to Chick-fil-A.
With a side of ranch, please. That would be great. I love it. Now, Josh, what is one piece of advice you'd like to give to other entrepreneurs, business owners who are just starting out? Maybe a mistake that you made early on or that 10 years of experience you're bringing together.
Yeah, goodness. If you've taken the plunge and you're committed, you're in it. To a previous point you made, people are way more interested in the type of person you are than your particular skill set. So even if you feel inadequate or you don't know something, outwork it. There's Google, figure it out on their behalf. Maybe that's what they're paying you to do at first is worry about it for them. And, I wouldn't say fake it till you make it, but be a workhorse and be the kind of person that people want to work with because they'll follow you till you retire. And everything else is legitimately just details.
That's beautiful. I'm sure everyone can take some advice and tips and tricks from everything that they've learned today from this conversation. For those who are interested in connecting with you or Tripally, can you provide us the links or channels that people should connect with you?
Yeah. Find us on LinkedIn at tripally.io, or you can find me on LinkedIn at Josh Polgardi. What we'd really be excited to see is we are inches away from launching. We are so close. What we're looking for is a ton of people on the app. So when it goes live, there's actually people on the app. So
Mhm.
anybody who would like to join the wait list, we'd love to have you. We'll invite people to do some beta testing when it goes live. And if you want to be a part of that group, we'd love to have you.
That would be
Join us.
fantastic. I feel like once you're in entrepreneurship for a bit, you want to take those risks and opportunity within beta testing your software because you might be ahead of the game versus waiting until launch. I know there's going to be people out there within my network and other people who are going to be interested in signing up. So we'll make sure to leave all the links in the description, inside the video, in the comments here. So make sure you check that out. Find out more about Josh and Tripally, the networking app that's going to bring people together with more in-person, more genuine networking connections and events. Josh, any other advice you'd like to share on our outro here for the podcast?
No, I don't think so, except to say, hey, be the kind of person that people want to talk to when they pick up their phone and they see your name. Be that kind of person.
I love that. And I saw earlier you did a thumbs up and there was a little bubble that popped out. I guess that's
Yeah.
specific to you. It doesn't work for me. I love it.
Your thumb's not as good as mine, my friend. So yeah, it just struck me. that when you're in business, you really want to be that kind of person. And I heard recently that maybe you can measure the quality of your life by how people react when they see your name pop up on their phone. And I want to be that kind of person that gets a smile and an answer.
It's beautiful. You want to be the person that people are looking forward to speaking to or get a smile on their face, not with a heavy, deep sigh that says, oh, I'm going to block this for now because you're not really the person I want to talk to. You want to be excited to work with someone, and that should come out from your entire personality and your process and how you interact and work with people. So people out there, make sure you get connected with Josh. Check out his app. Make sure you join the program to get early access and all the benefits that are included. And make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and comment for more information here. Thank you, Josh, so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Congratulations on all of your success and all of your future success.
Thanks, Chris. Same to you. I'll be listening, my friend.
Thanks so much. Looking forward to it. Thank you.